Earlier today, we spoke about critical raw materials for the energy transition and energy security. We gave the example of copper for electrification. And with that, I guess the best way to follow that earlier session is the fact that we have the pride and honor to have Minister of Energy and Electrification of Ontario, Minister Lecce, with us today. You know, the minister and I go back about 7 or 8 years ago, and you really know who your friends are, especially in politics, when they don't only show up at celebrations, at festivals, at business opportunity summits like today, but they also show up when times are difficult, when times are bad. And I remember, and I really want to recognize when Minister Lecce, and of course MVP Triantafylopoulos, omnipresent at all Greek-Canadian affairs and more. But I really want to highlight the fact that when the Danforth sad day shooting was in July of 2018, Minister Lecce was there, and he was calling folks and asking how can he help personally, not just in the capacity of being a newly elected official at the time, only a few weeks in. And so I think that speaks volumes about who your friends are, not only in good times, but also in difficult times. Minister Lecce, we will have the opportunity to hear from him today about what Ontario is doing to deliver affordable energy while also increasing capacity and helping industry. You know how we spoke earlier about the need for baseload energy to attract industry and manufacturing. And so what the minister is doing and the effort that him and his government are leading in Ontario to do that. We are very fortunate on the timing. The minister is on a road show, not just in Ontario, but also in the US. He came back from it recently, speaking on Ontario's strategy to deliver an affordable energy future, and we look forward to hearing more about that. A final comment, and something that is also topical for Greece and the current developments of the Greek government. Just before this portfolio, the minister was Minister of Education, and the last thing that he did as Minister of Education was the financial literacy high school program and test, which is now becoming mandatory in partnership not just with, of course, educators, but banks, and that is to prevent things like fraud, teaching investment at a young age, compound interest math, budgets. And so that is something that the current Greek government is starting to explore, and we hope that there will be knowledge sharing between the Greek government and the Ontario government on that too, and energy. With no further of my probably unnecessary ado, Minister Stephen Lecce.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you. I must admit I'm shocked that you invited an Italian to this Greek event, but thank you for your welcome, for your leadership, and really for the ability to strengthen our democratic partnership in the province of Ontario with the people of Greece and your economy. Really an emerging time. And I will say, Senator, it's nice to see him today. I didn't expect to see so many Democrats come to Canada so soon after the election, but you are welcomed here anytime, Senator, as any of my Greek friends are today. But look, thank you to the Toronto Economic Forum. Thank you, of course, to Simeon, to John, Vasileios. Thank you for the kind introduction. We go back many years. The Italian-Greek friendship has never been stronger. But I'm here really on behalf of the Premier, who I know addressed this esteemed group earlier. I'm here with some of my very hardworking colleagues in Ontario's Parliament, and I do want to recognize them. The first is the Parliamentary Assistant in the Ministry of Energy, Rudy Cazzetto. I want to introduce Effie Triantafylopoulos, who is with us today and a strong leader, not just for innovation in the economy and for expanding trade with all nations, but most particularly as a proud daughter of Greece. And of course, Aris Babikian, a member of Provincial Parliament, someone who has been critically involved in strengthening relations in Greece and Canada and frankly many nations, including our media. So thank you to them for joining us today. And I want to just speak a bit about the vibrance and the pride we have in the Greek community. I mean, the diaspora of 130,000 people strong have made our country better, a more democratic, a more free place to do business. And I speak about, in all fields of human endeavor, Greeks have, in our province and country, punched above their weight. And you see it in government, you see it in business, and you especially see it in the energy expansion taking hold today. And I want to speak a bit about that. because really the vision for Ontario is to build out a clean energy future where we already are among the cleanest energy grids on Earth. But our driver will not be ideology, it will be a pragmatic embrace of the market and of affordability. That is the central driving public policy priority of our government. It is to make sure the energy rates that attract investment, and even for our families and for our seniors, remains affordable. And so we have brought forth the Affordable Energy Act, which telegraphs with clear intention where we're going, laying out a vision for energy generation. Because what we're trying to avert in this province, a phenomena that happens too often in the world, is short-sighted, disjointed, sort of decisions made on electoral cycles instead of decisions made on the economic needs of a country for 20 and 30 years. So we said we're going to do something different in this government. And the Premier, who I know many of you would have heard earlier, spoke about reimagining how we do government and how do we do business in this province. And part of it was the requirement for a long-term integrated energy plan where all of our fuels, electricity, natural gas, work together, where we drive synergization between all those resources to provide affordable options, because we want to continue to attract investment. We also want to continue to provide affordable energy rates for Ontario families. And so, because of our results, we have, about a decade ago, we were the first jurisdiction in the continent's North America to entirely remove coal from our grid. This is now an undertaking that the government of Greece has initiated that will be done in the 2030s, and we recognize the leadership of the Greek government. This is an important step forward to reduce emissions. So we've done that. We've been doing that for many years. In 2023, 90% of our grid was non-emitting. And so this is an incredible testimony to the importance of clean energy for Ontario families. But we need to produce much more energy, 75% more energy between now and 2050. And this is not an insignificant challenge, but we see it as an opportunity because we have been thinking about tomorrow since the day we got elected in government in 2018. And what we need, and we have to have an honest discussion about, is we need reliable base load power. Yeah, I mean, obviously we support all forms of energy, but we need to have reliability on the grid, which is why in Ontario we've embraced nuclear energy for generations. It's why hydroelectric have been a part of our mix for generations, and we're going to be doing much more of both, with nuclear energy playing a critical role. Just to contextualize, colleagues, 50% of energy in Ontario is coming from non-emitting nuclear, 25% from renewable energy, 10% from natural gas, which we only use for peak purposes. So when we don't have enough of that baseload energy, when the wind is not windy enough and the sun is not shining enough, and there's a delta of energy, that's when we fire up natural gas to use for roughly 10%. But the overwhelming majority is clean, non-emitting, and obviously it's been an ability to attract investment to our province. And we will say to you that, we have really two paths before us as a province. And the purpose of why we came here today, in part because of the brilliant, relentless lobbying of Effie and Addis for us to show up today. But in addition to that, the truth is we came here because we have a message to demonstrate, to share with our Greek friends and with the world, that we have a plan, a credible plan of building on time and on budget nuclear expansions and refurbishments, including small modular reactors. We take note of the Prime Minister's most recent remarks, incrementally embracing the potential of nuclear. And that in itself is something we want to celebrate in the province, because we really see that as the next phase of our non-emitting future if we seek to decarbonize our economy. So we've attracted $45 billion of investment in EVs because of, not in spite of, our clean, affordable energy. We've created more manufacturing jobs last year in Ontario than all 50 US states combined have done. We have created the conditions really where we are becoming this renaissance of economic growth really fueled by nuclear energy, and we're proud of this success. We really see it as a net gain. But the truth is we need to expand this world-class energy grid. We need to do more. And so I come today with a plan to do that. And in part, it's because we have initiated the first small modular reactor in the G7. We've sort of embraced the first mover's advantage. And we're building the first in the industrialized world, really like an hour and 20 minutes from here at the Darlington Nuclear Generating Station. We're going to build a fleet of 4 SMRs, small modular reactors, being built as I speak, on time and on budget. And like many countries who are building or who have concepts of small modular reactors, we're physically building it. It's going to be in service by the end of the decade, producing 300 megawatts of non-emitting clean power, That's 300,000 homes. So and of course, one may not be enough for the Greek economy or for the Ontario economy, so we're building a fleet, and they're stackable and scalable. And so we're really making this pitch to the world. And next week, Rudy and I will be in Poland, where we're going to help secure more agreements, because the world is looking to Ontario as a clean energy superpower. And we're going to be helping in Poland, in the Czech Republic. We have agreements with Estonia, and we hope to secure more with other nations in Europe, and as we do with many parts of Canada and East Asia. And my point, colleagues, is just to say what I think we have learned as of late as observers of the world over the past few years with great levels of war and division is that we need to, as democracy, I may speak to the people who founded democracy, we need to embrace democratic values when we trade and export and be more intentional. So we decouple dependence on these despotic regimes abroad who seek to undermine our way of life. I mean, it is so foolish to see nations financing the war machine of Vladimir Putin in Europe today. And so I know you have natural gas in Greece. We do too in Canada, the fifth largest holder of natural gas. My point is we need to work together as democracies to decouple that dependence and be very clear-minded that we do not want to finance the Chinese or the Iranians, and I speak about the regimes, not the people, or of course the Kremlin, because we recognize, I think all of us as supporters of democracy, that we need to be much smarter about how we invest and how we work together. And Canada is a democratic friend, an embracer of democracy and human rights and the rule of law. And that's why we're here today, to say, let's work together. Let's smarten up as a nation of friends and collaborate together. We also are leading large-scale nuclear expansion. We have the largest continental nuclear expansion in our history happening as we speak at Bruce Power, Western Ontario, if you will. And in that part of Ontario, you will see a massive undertaking to expand nuclear energy. Roughly 5,000 megawatts of additional power will be generated by what will be called Bruce C, the next iteration of power, non-emitting power. So we're excited about this. We're also excited that we're refurbishing Darlington. We're refurbishing Pickering. These are nuclear generating stations that have been a part of our history for 30-odd years. And we're going to extend the life of those assets for another 30-odd years. And so I speak about this because we understand the importance of non-emitting energy. We also have launched the largest competitive energy procurement in Canadian history. And we actually did this in the township of King. And it was a beautiful announcement and a reminder to myself that our collaboration is what's going to enable lower rates for Ontario families. And I was very fortunate to meet with the team at Metlin, who one of your pride and joys, will be able to compete, because we are an open market for your investment, so that you can now compete in what will be the largest energy procurement in our history for 5,000 megawatts, and it's technology agnostic, meaning be it renewables or natural gas, which is pretty much all of their diversified business offerings. Any form of energy can deliver as long as you hit the timelines of building energy by 2034. So we are really reflecting on the strengths in our relationship. We are advancing the cause of democratic values. And I came here simply to express gratitude for our relationship, for our collaboration, for our hundreds of years of enduring values. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to make this pitch to you. Thank you for your interest in our country. And Minister, as a proud alumnus of the University of Toronto, may I say, you are welcomed here anytime, and it was an honor to meet with you. So thank you all. I appreciate you. Thanks so much.